And welcome into the Wednesday edition, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Wednesday morning. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Joe Rexrode, good morning. How are you? Happy Wednesday.
I'm doing great. Fog. I know this is like if someone's in their car and they're surrounded by fog, like, wow, thanks for the update. There's fog. Appreciate it. But, man, I don't know about you guys, but, like, in Nolensville, the fog was so thick. I mean, it was like a foot in front of my car visibility. Then it cleared up, and then it got kind of bad around here too. So I don't know about you guys.
It was largely okay for me until I got to Murfreesboro Road, and I couldn't see my own hand in front of me.
Yeah. How about your route?
For me,
65 was okay?
65, the interstate was fine.
Okay.
But the roads in Franklin around my house, probably the worst fog I might have ever experienced.
No kidding. Yeah. It's really thick in some spots and really patchy.
Yeah,
which is interesting. I don't know.
Side roads were bad. I mean, over by my house. I mean, it was pretty hardcore.
I think we might have some delayed flights today. So we get some.
So yeah, just a heads up out there. The interstates were pretty clear. But side roads, very foggy.
I bet there's somebody out there listening that was like, maybe not paying that close attention. Now they're looking out their car door. It's like, hey, Rexrode's right.
Oh,
there is some fog out here.
That's why I can't see anything. That's why I just hit that deer. I almost hit another deer today, by the way.
We can't have that.
See any deer.
Gaggle of them.
Cannot have that.
Yeah. Glad to help.
Rexrode's here for the people.
By the way, I just, if you're watching, just I want to make sure that you see this beautiful sweatshirt I'm wearing today. So.
Yes. Shout out to Robby and Rexrode. Step Brothers painting.
Yes. Thank you, Nick Keyser. Good job.
Yeah, very well done. Very well done. We got a lot going on the show today. Paul Kuharsky will be with us in the second half of the program. We will get into the Titans and the head coaching search and the reaction to Mike Borgonzi's press conference with him a little bit later in the show. We'll be joined by Vanderbilt women's basketball coach Shay Ralph coming up at 7 o'clock with their hot start to the season, so we will get into that as well. Big win against Kim Mulkey and LSU the other day, which is always fun when you can take down Kim Mulkey and LSU. So we will get into that and much more with Shay Ralph coming up at 7 o'clock. Joe, we begin with a big domino that fell in the NFL yesterday. John Harbaugh fired after 18 seasons with the Baltimore Ravens. So we've been kind of going back and forth on the John Harbaugh stuff the last couple of days. It seems like it's kind of weird there, and Lamar, after the game on Sunday, didn't really commit to, I'd really like to see John Harbaugh back next year. Didn't really take the opportunity to do that, and here we are on the Tuesday after the season, Joe, and the big domino falls. So what do you make of the Ravens actually doing it and firing John Harbaugh, and what sort of a wrench does that throw in this coaching search if you're the Titans and all these other teams that have openings?
Well, first of all, yes, I agree with any Tennessee Titans fan who says, please go get John Harbaugh. That's the first reaction is, if you can get John Harbaugh, I would absolutely hire John Harbaugh. And I think it was Schefter. Maybe it was Rappaport. I don't know. One of those two guys put it out there that 7 teams immediately reached out. There were only 6 openings. Now, which sounds fake, except I totally believe it, because there's probably a team that's not sure right now that reached out. And it was like, what is your if we did fire our guy, what would you think about that? So it's a big deal. We've talked about the possibility. I'm still surprised as I read through, and I've been reading a lot of stuff about it. Man, there's as of, and I'm reading Jeff Zrebeck, who, friend of the show, covers the Ravens for us at The Athletic, and they were planning to move forward. Something happened yesterday with the conversations that changed things. It seems like, and I know Diane Rossini's among the people reporting this, that I think that he maybe could have been okay by sacrificing a coordinator.
Where we heard that before.
Yeah. Well, right. And, another interesting thing about that, by the way, an aside on all of this, I think that injuries are still the biggest problem with the Ravens recently. But here's another example of, obviously, a great head coach who's been through a bunch of different coaches, has won a Super Bowl, that stuff. But you lose Mike McDonald, it's funny how that seems to hurt you. Dan Campbell, you lose your 2 coordinators. Funny how that seems to hurt you. There's other examples. There was another one that I had in my brain and I've lost it. A glaring one of losing a coordinator, and all of a sudden the head coach, like so sometimes it's like, should teams go with the whiz kid or whatever who is obviously giving them an edge? But regardless, John Harbaugh is going to be very coveted, and if the Titans can't get him, I mean, to me, I think it would be worth celebrating if he interviews here, because to me, it's like, who is he going to say, yes, I'll interview with you?
Right.
But at the very least, it does bump everyone down.
Yeah, I mean, it adds another coach to the pool here. And he's 63 years old. He'll be 64 coming up in September. I am really interested to see when he gets through his process here who he interviews with, because if we went through the jobs that are open yesterday, and you can debate as to which job is the most attractive. Like, there seems to be a popular thought among NFL circles right now that the Giants could be a landing spot for him. Maybe the Raiders could be a landing spot for him, with Brady kind of leading the search and having the opportunity for the number 1 pick and all those things. I don't know. We'll see. Like, the thing that I keep coming back to in this is, like, Harbaugh has been, and he's certainly a big part of it, but he has been around an organization that, along with Pittsburgh, has been kind of the poster child for stability, right? And not only stability, but just well run. They're stable. They've had really good coaching. Their player selection, even when they've been drafting late in the 20s and in the 30s for basically his entire career, like, they've chosen good players. Like, so, I mean, it's a very well run organization in Baltimore. And when you start talking about jobs like the Raiders, I'm like, does he really want that? Like, I understand Brady's there now, but the Raiders have been basically the opposite of the Ravens, right? So does he really want to go sign up for that? I'm very interested to see how ownership factors into all this based on where he's just come from.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and Steve Biscotti is a good owner, and obviously, that's the thing. They've had a great relationship. Sometimes things, and again, I think some of this is, and I know some of the reporting about this is also, it's definitely Lamar, but not just Lamar Jackson, that there are other players who've gone to. I mean, I think it can happen to anybody at some point, the voice can get stale. I think with Harbaugh, would he consider a place like this? Because it's, obviously, as we talked about 10 million times, ownership is an issue. Again, I think Cam Ward would have to be part of that. What does he think about Cam Ward? Does he like the idea of having the first pick with the Raiders? Is he a guy who's going to, sit out a cycle and maybe looking at Green Bay and saying, I think LaFleur is never going to get over the hump, and all of a sudden that's going to open up, and then I'll have Jordan Love and a lot of runway with him, and one of the great storied franchises in the NFL. I mean, he could think that way too.
Yeah, I mean, that could be on the table. Also, like, if you're him, I think when you're like Vrabel took a year off, and Vrabel, by the way, didn't intentionally take a year off. He interviewed for the Chargers job. So it's not like I've seen a lot of that recently. It's like, well, Vrabel took the year off. It's like, well, yeah, he did interview for a job he would have taken.
He would take the Chargers job.
So, but I do think age probably a little bit more of a factor here. Like, he's 63. He's not like ancient, but do you want to take another year off and then be 64 and then be going? Like, I would assume he probably wants to get right back into it. And look, John Harbaugh obviously is a great coach. He's been a great coach in this league for a long time. There 18 years at any spot, that's a long run in professional sports. And at some point, it all comes to an end for all these guys. I am interested to, like, if I'm doing the interview process here, obviously you would be interested in John Harbaugh. Like, he would be at the top of, I think, most people's list now. But I would be interested, like, to hear his thoughts on, like, why things kind of soured the way that they did at the end here, and see what he has to say on that front.
Yeah. I mean, I have to think it's Lamar Jackson related to a large extent. Another thing about Harbaugh, and on that front, that's one of the things I've been most impressed with his whole tenure. And look, the bottom line is they've had some great teams and they haven't gotten it done. And they could have won it all last year, and I thought that they were going to do it this year. But even just the choosing of Lamar Jackson and the changing of there are a lot of teams that would not have done what they did.
Correct.
They would say, "Nah, that just can't work in this league." And obviously, it works in this league. Yes, they haven't won it all, but again, if the Bills never win it all with Josh Allen, then tell me the same thing. Then that can't work. Or whatever, Justin Herbert, everybody loves him, Superman quarterback. If we're going to just base it on playoff success, there's a whole bunch of great quarterbacks who I guess you could just say, well, that doesn't work. I mean, it's hard to win. It works, and that is to me a testament to John Harbaugh for not being afraid to try things. But then again, at the same time, coaches they cycle up and down schematically too, and they're dependent on coordinators. And so I mean, there's a lot of questions for teams for him on that front, but also I think they'd all hire him in a second.
Yeah, I think they would. So John Harbaugh is out there. Add him to the list of potential head coaching candidates for the Tennessee Titans. We'll take your thoughts on that. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. More coming up on the Harbaugh situation next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
the Ravens lost on Sunday night, which sped up the timetable on these conversations about the direction that the organization and John Harbaugh both wanted to take. The Ravens owner, Steve Bisciotti, was in the building today to meet with John Harbaugh, and he wanted to take the organization in a different direction. After watching John Harbaugh coach his team for 18 seasons, it was time for Steve Bisciotti to take back his team and to set John Harbaugh free. I expect John Harbaugh to be the most in-demand coach in this cycle with multiple opportunities. He will be able to go wherever he wants, basically, to get a head coaching job. Baltimore now embarks on its own head coaching search, but Steve Bisciotti felt like this was the right thing to do at this particular time. The two sides went their own ways, and now John Harbaugh becomes the most in-demand coaching free agent out there.
That was Adam Schefter yesterday on the John Harbaugh front, taking your thoughts on Harbaugh being fired by the Ravens. Could he be a realistic fit for the Tennessee Titans? Your thoughts on that, 615-737-1025. Let's head to our phone line. Welcome in David to the program. David, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, good morning, guys. I mean, oh, man, when I saw this, I thought, given the available pool out there, Harbaugh's got to be the top pick for us. I'm curious on your thoughts, though. How does he fit into this particular organization where this organization has struggled in hiring and keeping a coach now for multiple seasons? Last quick comment. Shout out to the Preds last night. I know they got beat, but they're finally moving the puck and making good passes. And I was actually pretty impressed with them. But anyway, guys, enjoy the show. Hope you have a great day.
Thank you, David. Appreciate it. I mean, look, I think John Harbaugh can fit in any organization. What is the attractiveness of the Titans when it comes down to weighing the whole picture, right? Like you've got, look, I'll say this, and this is me, a radio host talking that has absolutely nothing to do with John Harbaugh. But like every time Mike Borgonzi gets up there and talks, I come away from it thinking, yeah, that guy like has a clue. Like I feel good about Mike Borgonzi. Look, they do have Dave Ziegler, and they do have Reggie McKenzie, and they do have a front office that has been around and that has done it. So take that. I mean, we've had the how many cooks in the kitchen do you want conversation, and you can take that for what it is. But the Titans clearly feel like their front office is a strength for them and a strength for their organization. So you have that. You have a young quarterback in Cam Ward. You know, I don't know how much evaluating of Cam Ward John Harbaugh has done when you were coaching a team that had Lamar Jackson at quarterback. I doubt very seriously he's taken a strong look at Cam Ward. But now there's an opportunity to do that. Like I'm sure he's followed it throughout the year. So what are your thoughts on Cam Ward if you're John Harbaugh? And probably the most interesting one, even beyond maybe the quarterback, Joe, is like how closely has Harbaugh followed what has been a lot of dysfunction around here with coaches being fired and general managers being fired, and how quickly things have happened on that front around here. And does that put the Titans down the list from the start? That to me is kind of the real question when it comes to specifically Harbaugh here, who I think is going to have a lot of options.
Yeah. It's like Dean and Hickory says, what would it say about the Titans org/ownership if Harbaugh doesn't interview with us? Yeah. Like, again, if the Titans get an interview with him, that to me is a win. I can't in any world imagine they won't try. Right?
Oh, I would assume that they would.
I mean, they are interviewing Jason Garrett.
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
Somehow.
I mean, if you're interviewing Jason Garrett, then we're talking a wide net, right?
Yeah.
Titans are getting dragged on social for all these interviews.
Yeah.
It's rough. When you throw in Garrett, Nagy.
I mean, look.
I don't know.
I don't have a problem. I mean, I've talked about the whole time. I don't have a problem with casting the wide net. I think that's fine. I do look at the Jason Garrett one. I'm like, so why are you interviewing Jason Garrett?
It's an odd one. It's odd. He's been out of the game for how long? I mean, he does the NBC stuff.
I mean, what,
2020? Moderately well.
2021?
Yeah, I don't get that one. I don't. Chris says, no way Harbaugh picks Titans. Why would any great coach come here knowing he'd have to run the same offense? Well, that's in place now. Well, that's not true,
I mean, he would
Chris.
be running it. By the way,
Yeah.
2019 was the last time.
2019. Yeah, that's a
Jason Garrett was coaching.
That's bizarre. Well, no, that's not true on the offense. I mean, he's now. It will be interesting. So apparently, some of the stuff in Baltimore, really, the conflict was Monken and Jackson. And again, I'm reporting. I'm reading Jeff's readback. That was Harbaugh was sort of the buffer between them. Essentially, it turns out to be you're picking Lamar Jackson over Harbaugh and Monken. Is it Monken Harbaugh's guy? Remember, Monken, obviously you think of that offense that they have with Lamar Jackson, but it was built around Lamar Jackson. That's what good coaches do. They build their schemes around their players and they lean into their strengths. And so I don't think that, like, if that were the case, if Monken's his guy, it's not like he'd be like, hey, Cam, I mean, if you tried to do the Baltimore offense with Cam Ward, you would not win a game. So, like seriously, he can't do that. He's not fast. He's not a running quarterback. He never will be.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing about Lamar Jackson's game that really looks like Cam Ward's game at all. But again, that's good coaches see what a player is and they say, let's do this, not that. Now, there's my system. You figure it out, player. Those coaches suck. Okay.
Oh, and by the way,
there are those coaches out there. I don't think John Harbaugh has had the success he has if he doesn't understand how to coach.
Oh, we've seen John Harbaugh change things.
Exactly.
You brought it up,
dramatically.
Right? I mean, he had Joe Flacco as his quarterback forever. You're not running the same offense with Joe Flacco that you're running with Lamar Jackson out there.
So for people who are skeptical, and there's a lot reacting already, I'm with you. Now, one thing about Harbaugh that is notable is that as far as I know, Eric DaCosta was the GM and Harbaugh didn't have like final say. I mean, obviously coach and GM always work together on personnel, but it's not like he was one of those I'm really the GM coaches. So I guess if you want to have a glimmer of hope, if he respects Borgonzi, has heard good things about Borgonzi, thinks he's good, that could be attractive to him. But yeah, look, I think the ownership thing here is, of course, a big red flag. Any coach in college, it's like, who's the president? Who's the AD? Is there support top down? Are they competent? And in the NFL, it's like, is ownership a freaking clown show? And unfortunately, in the NFL, there's way too many of those.
Let's head back to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Brian to the show. Brian, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, good morning, Borgs. It's really interesting me, this whole dynamic, man. When I heard Harbaugh got let go, and not so much from the Titans standpoint, but it really brings into question, and I know I'm not saying that Harbaugh is not a good coach, but somebody being in a system that long and being around an organization that's able to pick, you really wonder, could John Harbaugh work out in another place that is not stable with a stable organization? Eric DaCosta is going to be making his first coaching hire. Those kind of things make you really wonder. I think the onus is really on Baltimore to try to go out and find a guy that's going to come in. You have the talent there, obviously, with those players that Baltimore have. They're stocked with talent, but it's really going to be interesting to see this entire dynamic, man, because Harbaugh has been in a place for so long. You kind of, when you're surrounded with talent, it's not, I'm not going to say it's not impossible to coach, but we have seen guys go up a good situation. So I think it's really going to be interesting to see how all this plays out. And I think you could say the same thing about Tomlin. Tomlin, I wonder if he has a first round exit, if he's another guy that we see out there. Man, this coaching cycle is really going to be interesting because we thought Stefanski would be the number one guy on most people's list, but now with this, it almost kind of seems like a runner-up kind of thing if you get Stefanski now. But you guys have a good rest of the day. I'll talk to y'all.
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it. I mean, that part of it is interesting. I mean, it's Stefanski has shaken loose. Now Harbaugh has shaken loose. I mean, I guess you can't rule out Tomlin at this point. I'd be, I guess, surprised, but you can't rule it out if they get smoked next week in the first round, and he's been thinking about maybe parting ways for a while now. Maybe you add him to the list. And I'll tell you another one, and this is why I think you're going to see Harbaugh maybe wait a little bit here, because if this happens, I think this would be a great fit for him. Like, what happens if the Jags come out and they beat Buffalo? Like, is Sean McDermott safe?
Yeah.
Because That'd be a pretty attractive landing spot to me if I'm John Harbaugh if Buffalo fires their coach.
No doubt. And I mean that he has a skill set. I mean, I think what the Bills have a good offense. I mean, I love what they do, and obviously they figured out getting running back production this year too. But like if Monken got a hold of Josh Allen, that could work out pretty well. And then Harbaugh, yeah, he's going to be very selective. Ownership, but also quarterback. Again, that's like Vrabel. Like you said earlier, he didn't just say, I'm going to sit out. He said, okay, Justin Herbert, yes. I'm going to be smart about my choice here. And I mean, the Spanos family, it's not bad. I mean, they have a better reputation than a lot of owners in this league. And it's like, okay, I'll just go help out. I'll go sprint with Jameis Winston before games in Cleveland for a year and hang out and see what happens. So yeah, I still think that's really, like, I hear you on age, like the clock is ticking, but I think he's going to be selective. It's hard for me to get to he would actually choose the Titans. Again, to me, it's like if they get an interview, that's cause for a mini celebration. And I'm not going to be surprised if he doesn't interview with the Titans because he just says out front, like, yeah, I'm good. I mean, I'd like to be wrong, but I think I might not be.
Well, but what it would do, like, let's say even if he doesn't end up choosing the Titans, that's another coach added to the pool.
For sure.
To me, the more coaches you got in the pool, the better off that is for the Titans. And look, I think Baltimore has now clearly become the most attractive job opening, right? Like we were going through the job openings yesterday. Well, I would assume Baltimore, not only with Lamar Jackson being the quarterback, but also the stability and just the competence that organization has put forward. Clearly, it's the best job open right now, right? So one of these guys that we've been talking about probably going to end up in Baltimore. So the more coaches you add to the pool, I think the better off that is for the Titans. 615-737-1025, our phone number. We will continue the discussion on John Harbaugh and the Titans head coaching position. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Taking your thoughts on John Harbaugh being fired by the Ravens. The Titans head coaching position is open. We heard from general manager Mike Borgonzi yesterday. We're going to get into that a little bit later in the show. Paul Kuharsky from paulkuharsky.com will be with us later in the program to get into all things Tennessee Titans head coaching searches. Taking your thoughts on the Titans coaching search right now. Let's head to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Greg to the program. Greg, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing good.
Good. Hey, my question is, how is Kirk Cignetti not at least discussed seriously as NFL coach with how quickly he's been able to rebuild anywhere he's been, and it's just sort of analogous to the way college football is structured now is so much closer to the way the NFL is with free agency and the transfer in college. It just seems like he would be a perfect fit for rebuilding a NFL team.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Greg. Appreciate it. I mean, look, I have thought about that in terms of Cignetti and the job that he's done at Indiana. You know, how attractive would that be to NFL teams? I don't know that he's got the appetite for that. I mean, he just signed a new deal with Indiana, so clearly he wants to coach in college. But I have thought about, like, Cignetti has done a great job, obviously, in Indiana. Now, there is a difference between, coaching in college football and being a head coach in the NFL, but he's a good coach, man. I think he could do it.
He's never been in the NFL. Penn State immediately, tried to. And again, I know that's another college job, but it's a big-time college job, and it was like, nope, I'm good at Indiana. Hey, he's good. Look, I mean, like, if the Preds have a coach opening, I think they should look at him too. I mean, as far as I know, he might be the greatest coach in sports history for what he's done in Indiana. So I'm not opposed to the idea, but, yeah, I think at his age, is he 67, 66 or 67? I think that's right.
He is 64.
I'm so sorry, Kurt.
Jeez.
So he's the same age as John Harbaugh.
Same age as Harbaugh, basically.
Doesn't it seem? It just seems like he's older. Yeah. It's not like it's impossible, but I would not think we'll ever see Kurt Cignetti in the NFL. Now, Marcus Freeman, who the Giants were just heavily flirting with, now that may be a different story at some point.
Well, and I think there's been some reporting out there that the Titans threw that name around in there,
Titans
too.
Talked to, and that's, yeah. Why not Lane, though? Why not Lane?
Has been an NFL head coach before.
Someone get Lane away from college campuses.
It could be advantageous to everybody involved on that front. Look, I have a hard time believing that Harbaugh is going to end up here. Okay, I think I'm with you. Like, if the Titans got an interview out of him, I think it would be surprising to me if that's the way that it went down at this point. And I know we've had some people say, "Well, why would it be surprising to get an interview? It's just an interview." Like, I think Harbaugh is going to have a pretty good idea of what the market looks like for him. There's going to be a lot of interest in him. And, I think there are head coaching candidates, for example, like when you're Brian Callahan, you probably take every interview, right? Like,
yes,
you take every
100%.
interview that you get.
Put yourself out there.
Right. Like, when you're a lesser proven head coach, you take probably every interview. When you've been in a spot for 18 years and you've won a Super Bowl and you've been along with Mike Tomlin on the list of the most stable jobs and head coaches in the league, and the market for you is going to be pretty high, I think you can afford to be pretty selective from the jump. So I'm interested to see what that looks like. And look, maybe he does just want to take a year off. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility that he looks at it and says, you know what? I think there's a chance that the market and the jobs that are available next year could be better. I mean, you throw out Green Bay, we'll see. I really am interested to see what happens with Buffalo here. Like, if they can't put together a deep postseason run,
if they lose to the
what
Jags,
happens? Yeah,
they lose to the Jags.
So maybe it's that. Like, but I think if you're Harbaugh, you can afford to be way more selective with this kind of stuff than your average NFL coaching candidate.
Yeah. Look, is he going to interview with everybody? I mean,
I don't think so.
That's a hell of a. That's a hell of a itinerary in your life. You're going to go from this huge emotional firing to just absolutely flying all over the country because everybody. No, I don't think so. Again, I think and why why waste people's time? I think that he is where he goes to interview. I think there has to be at least some serious consideration on his part. And I just don't believe he's seriously considering all these jobs. And frankly, if I had to guess, I would not guess this one, but again, we'll see. We'll see if they give him an interview. There's counterpoints on him. Chase from White Bluff says, I've also watched John Harbaugh get at coach, not run the ball with the lead multiple times. Sure. 2 years ago in the playoffs, they didn't run the ball at all. The Chiefs beat them in Baltimore. That should have been a Super Bowl team. I think John's great, but there were questionable times. And that's fair too. He hasn't been a perfect coach, but no one is. Overall, over the balance of the tenure, pretty freaking good.
Pretty good. And now, if it's not Harbaugh, where does he end up this coaching cycle? If indeed this coaching cycle is the way that it goes, what does that do for Stefanski? And the other interesting part of this, Joe, is like all those guys that we're talking about. Nagy, Stefanski, Harbaugh, the guys that have been head coaches before. That's not even. I mean, there's only so many openings that are out there right now. So what does it mean for, Clint Kubiak, or what does it mean for Jesse Minter, or these guys that have not been head coaches? Like, I would assume a couple of these guys that haven't been coaches before are probably going to get hired somewhere. Like, that happens every cycle, right? Where there's there's one or two coaches that are the hot coordinators that get hired. Well, right now there are a lot of guys that have been head coaches before that are out there on the market. So what does that do for those other guys that have not been head coaches before? How does that affect, Harbaugh being added to the mix here? How does it affect how many of those guys get jobs this cycle?
Yeah, it's a good question. So as you say that, I go through, let's go through now, obviously Vrabel was a successful head coach and the Patriots got him, but he got the job off being a coordinator. So did McDermott, so did Tomlin, so did Harbaugh, so did Taylor, so did Stefanski. Look at Liam Cohen, obviously this year. Look at Ben Johnson, obviously this year. Look at McDonald, what he's done at Baltimore. I still think there's some owners out there are going to be like, we just have to get the right one of these guys. This works or can work. But also, for people who are talking, use the word retread. I mean, there's a ton of success stories there too, sure, including retreads who didn't succeed initially.
Well, and is there a team or a couple of teams out there that we're not planning on firing their coach, that now that Harbaugh is available, they do some digging behind the scenes, feel like there's a pretty decent shot he may come there and then do it? Yeah. And then, and I don't know who that would be. I mean, people are bringing up Green Bay on the chat. Maybe. I mean, they've got a playoff game Saturday, but the indication kind of looks like right now that LaFleur and Gutekunst both are about to get a contract extension. So we'll see what happens on that front. A lot of whining for me for several years.
You better get excited. How many Super Bowls does LaFleur have to win before you like him?
Well, can we start with one? That'd be nice.
I still think that he could win a Super Bowl, and then the next year, like you will be ready to pounce. I hope I'm
That's
wrong.
Probably fair.
Richard on the YouTube chat says Miami is the team that is like that 17.
Well, I could see that.
And I could absolutely see that. Stephen Ross is exactly the kind of guy who would be like, hey, welcome back next year, and then back channel John Harbaugh. And frankly, I don't know why it's that important to keep McDaniel anyway. So that is one to watch for sure. And see, I don't know, but so they would have the sort of the Michigan connection because Stephen Ross is a Michigan guy, and he's giving them. But I don't know, man. To me, if I'm John Harbaugh,
well, who's your quarterback?
Who's your quarterback? Yeah. And also, again, the ownership is a little wacky, man.
Yeah, I mean, Miami is attractive from the standpoint of, hey, in December it's warm down there. That's fun.
Sure.
Well, you're talking about a team that is picking 11th overall in the draft coming up, who has just moved on from Tua Tagovailoa. And I know Quinn Ewers came in there later in the season and played okay, but are you convinced that Quinn Ewers is your franchise quarterback moving forward? Because I don't know how you could be right now. Maybe he will be. I don't know. But, after playing 3 games or whatever it was to end the season there's no way I think anybody could know that at this point.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be expecting that to be a long-term answer. So I don't know that would really change it.
Well, let me ask you this. Zach Taylor, they've said he's coming back, right? Now, Harbaugh is available. Would that change? I understand in Cincinnati, and they're notoriously cheap. But I mean, it is Joe Burrow. Like I would assume, like if you're Cincinnati, wouldn't you at least have to think about this? You know, you've seen firsthand the type of coach that John Harbaugh is in your division.
Yeah, but I also think that so much of these decisions do have to do with the quarterbacks. You know, by the way, I liked Borgonzi yesterday. Like, Cam, just a quick hello. Quick hello. That's how much input.
He got asked about like the input Ward's going to have, and he started laughing. He was like, "Yeah, he comes to my office, and sometimes he says too much."
But when you're Joe Burrow, that's different. When you're Lamar Jackson, that's different. So obviously, Lamar Jackson, there were some issues. There was not full support. I don't know, but I get the sense that I think Burrow is behind Zach Taylor, and that's why they're not. So if that's the case, then I don't think you're going to do it. Like if Joe Burrow, and I understand, like Joe Burrow smart enough to understand they're not going to bring the Todd Monken offense they have with Lamar Jackson to you. But if you like your scheme and like the coach, then I think they're not going to.
Well, I would think at this point, even though his injuries have been a significant part of the issue, I would think at this point, if there was any doubt from the Burrow side of things on Zach Taylor, they would have made the move by now. At least I would hope so.
Yeah, the doubt is probably with franchise that lets Lou Anarumo go and that lets these defensive players go and can't field a fully competitive team. That's not on Zach Taylor.
615-737-1025. Our phone number. We got Shay Ralph coming up at 7 o'clock. Paul Kuharsky will be with us in the second half of the program. We will continue the discussion on the Titans head coaching position coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Tonight, Vanderbilt men's basketball taking on Alabama at Memorial Gym. 8 o'clock tip-off. Pregame show starting at 7:30 on 102.5 The Game. We'll have Shay Ralph, Vanderbilt women's coach, coming up to begin the 7 o'clock hour. Looking forward to that. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. 615-737-1025, our phone number. 615-737-1025. Lance throwing this idea out there, says Harbaugh could hang up the whistle, go make $10 million calling games 20 weekends a year. Just go to the broadcasting part of this.
He'd probably be pretty good, I think. I think he could be
better
decent.
or worse than Brady?
Better. But again, like how high of a wow? How high?
How high? He's the number one guy on Fox. What are you talking about?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's all on merit. Yeah, that's all because of his great announcing. That's what it's all about. No, I think he'd be good, but yeah, I think that I think he's got the competitive juices flowing and wants to stand. That's why I guess like we have these guys like Brady and Matt Ryan who are like, yeah, I'll take that TV money, but also I want to be in the game somehow, which is dumb.
Matt Ryan's out. He's out at CBS. He's not going to double dip.
Oh, good.
Yep. So
Breaking
you
news.
were right. Yeah. That was kind of clarified
Thank
yesterday.
you for being aware of current events, unlike me. Yeah, good. Good for you, Matt Ryan.
One texter says, I'd love to have Harbaugh because I know what bad coaching looks like, but why do they quit running in the fourth quarter and in the playoffs? It seems like he never figured out how to use Henry. Well, I mean, in fairness, he had Derrick Henry in the playoffs one time. They did not make it this year. And look, Henry put together a 2,000-yard season and a almost 1,600-yard season running the ball in this offense. So I've heard some of that, like they never figured out how to use Derrick Henry. It's like, well, he put up 2,000 yards and like 1,600 yards. I think they used him okay in Baltimore.
Well, I don't understand that whole thing.
Well, there have been, look, the game a couple of weeks ago, right? And I don't even remember who they were playing at this point. Was it who were they playing a couple of weeks ago where they had the lead in the fourth and he scored a couple of touchdowns? And then the last two series,
the Patriots game?
The Patriots game. That's who it was.
Yeah.
And Henry didn't even see the field the last two series. That's one where it's like, you probably need to put Derrick Henry out there.
Yeah. The reality of Derrick Henry goes back to here, too. I mean, he was an MVP candidate who often wasn't on the field on third and medium or longer. I mean, so there's that, too. If you're behind, you're probably going to go to more of your pass-catching running back. But, 3,600 yards in 2 years. I'd say decent usage of Derrick Henry there.
Would
what he is.
Would Harbaugh, would it increase the attractiveness of the Raiders job or decrease the attractiveness of the Raiders job to know that he would be going up against his brother in the division twice a year?
Yeah, that's interesting. Raiders-Chargers, a great NFL rivalry. That is kind of fun to think about. I think that I don't think it would like decrease it. I don't think that's a non-starter. I think they'd probably have fun with it.
I think they would too.
Yeah. Why not?
So the Raiders the favorite now? Have they released odds on this? I'm sure there are odds somewhere.
There must be odds. That would be interesting too. I mean, that's the thing. There's just no obvious choice for him. There's just, and I guess that's how it goes in the NFL. Like usually when jobs open, it's bad teams and there's something seriously wrong or multiple things seriously wrong with the franchise, but there's just really isn't a great answer.
I found some odds from Fox Sports, and I don't know if this is like their own betting thing. I think it is sports betting on Fox Sports. Giants at plus 150 as the favorite. Raiders at number 2 at plus 450. Falcons at plus 650 at 3. The Tennessee Titans at number 4 plus 800.
If you're a coach right now, and the only question was who would you rather hitch your wagon to, Jackson Dart or Cam Ward?
I think, and I think Cam Ward would be the answer.
Okay.
Because, like, first off, Dart started off hot, and then he's all right at the end of the year.
He had some rough ones.
He had some rough ones. He had some good performances, too. The thing that would scare me to death about Dart is, like, how many times did he end up in the medical tent this year being looked at for a concussion? I mean, he cannot protect himself.
And he plays that way.
Yeah.
Now,
So
some people figure that out.
Some people figure that out, and maybe he will. But that would at least be where I'm looking at him right now, and I'm like, yeah, is he going to be on the field? Because I realize Cam Ward just got hurt at the end of the year. Cam Ward, pretty durable throughout the year, and a shoulder injury, even though it's not what you want from your quarterback. it's different than putting your head in harm's way every time you step on the field out there as a quarterback.
Yeah. I would have, I would have questions about either. I would
Sure.
not feel.
I mean, you're not feeling
yeah,
certain about either one.
right. So, but the Giants, from ownership perspective, I think it's a pretty good reputation. Another GM who it's amazing how he hangs on. Although he has they have a better roster than some people may realize. I agree here with George from Murfreesboro on the YouTube channel. He's like, watch Harbaugh decline an interview, but then to cover up the embarrassment, the Titans will quietly say they weren't interested. Yeah, it's just like recruiting, right?
Yeah.
It's like, no, we didn't really want that. We didn't want that 5-star.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated to hear later what PK thinks about whether they will get him in here for an interview. Because to me, there's 6 jobs open. They will all ask. Don't fool yourself. They will all ask. It would actually be malpractice to not immediately ask.
Yeah.
And I mean, Schefter, those guys already reported 7 teams. I promise you the Titans are one of them.
Yeah.
Duh. How many? I bet you he does an interview with, maybe he interviews with 4 of the 6. Maybe.
Well, and who coaches Baltimore, right? Like who's Baltimore's replacement? Because look, I understand 18 years, clearly some conflict at the end there, and they decided it's time to move on. That's a pretty good coach. It's walking out the door. I understand you've got some pieces there where it's a good job, but who are they getting to be their head coach?
Yeah. For the most part, I would think there'd be coaches lining up for the possibility.
You would think.
But again, there's the Lamar Jackson injury thing. There is whatever happened. I mean, he some of the Baltimore media definitely, there was some unfavorable, I guess, really like maturity related stuff about him late in the year. And clearly it got difficult. You just, again, that's always a story with 2 sides. And he doesn't have an agent, which is weird and should change at some point. But I would have to think, I mean, I'd take a shot at it. I'd take a shot at going in there with him and also with Derrick Henry, by the way.
Well, again, I think it's clearly the most attractive job on the market right now. I'm just very interested to see who it is that ends up taking it, right? Like, are they going established head coach, or are they taking their shot at like a Clint Kubiak or one of those guys that comes in and is the next up and coming thing? Like philosophy wise from Baltimore. I mean, I would assume you're operating as if you're in a window right now to win a championship.
Yeah, 100%. So, yeah, is it more important, like, okay, we need someone who schematically can take advantage of this superhero, or this team can't have someone who isn't an established head coach?
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how that goes. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Paul Kuharsky from paulkuharsky.com will be with us in the second half of the show. We got a whole lot of stuff on the Titans head coaching search to get into with PK. Up next, we'll be joined by Shea Ralph, Vanderbilt women's basketball coach. What a start to the season for them, and what a big win they got against LSU the other day. We'll get into that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Wednesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. And first off, what a last calendar year it has been for Vanderbilt athletics as a whole, and what a time it is for the basketball teams right now. The men's and women's teams, both undefeated, both playing great. And to help us talk more about that, we head to our phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. And welcome in Vanderbilt women's coach Shay Ralph to the program, who is 15-0, number 7 in the nation right now. Shay, good morning. How are you?
I'm great. Good morning. How are you guys?
Doing awesome.
Good.
Really appreciate you taking time to be with us. So, Shay, let's start there. I mean, I realize that it's January and there's still a lot of work left to be done here, but you've been building this program. You've talked in the past about, the work you've put in and taking hopes and wishes and making it reality. So the significance in your eyes of being at this spot at this point in the season in the top 10, do you take time to acknowledge that with your group while recognizing that there's still a lot more work to be done? What's the significance of being in the top 10 for your program?
Yeah, I mean, you have to. You have to take time to enjoy the victories along the way, right? And this is something that we've been talking about. I know I've been talking about with you guys. I talk about it in every press conference. I talk about it in recruiting with our alums. Like, this is, the team that we want to be. These are the games that we want to win. And you can talk and talk and talk, but until you do something, like you said, until you make a hope and a wish reality, then it's just talk. And, in order for us to be in contention for championships, the game like we won on Sunday at home in front of an incredible crowd with amazing performances from players. Michaela Blakes is getting every National Player of the Year award this week. Those are the games that you have to win. Those are the weeks that you have to have in January and February and early March to be able to be a serious contender for a championship. So it's just another step along the way of the journey that we've talked about wanting to be on here. But man, yes, you got to celebrate it. That's like, most of the time you win a championship, that's a moment. But the kids, the coaches, the fans, they remember the whole journey. So yeah, we celebrated it, but we're done doing that. Now we're on to our game on Thursday. But I love the confidence that my kids are playing with right now. They're having a good time as well.
So, Shay, I know the atmosphere was great for a huge win in this game, and I know you can't talk. I don't think you can talk about recruits. I don't know. I mean, I guess there are still some rules with recruiting out there, but I know that you have had significant recruits in. There's a lot of momentum for the program. So big picture, your success, but also, football success, facility building, men's basketball success, obviously baseball is very good, but just the overall momentum. How are you seeing that translate when you are talking to kids out there?
It is something like we're talking about our program, and that's like our piece of the pie, right? But this is something that has been the vision at Vanderbilt, which is why I'm here with Candace Story-Lee and our Chancellor Dearmeyer, and the resources, the plan that they put in place to make sure that, the Vanderbilt athletics has elevated to the competitiveness of the academic side of Vanderbilt. So now we can go out and recruit the best student athletes in the world, right? And that was always the plan. And so now you see that vision, all of you guys see that vision coming to life because of the belief of our administration and our leadership. And there's a lot of things I can do for my players, but I can't do anything about our leadership. And we have someone at the helm of our athletic department who was a member of our women's basketball program, who was an athlete here at Vanderbilt. And she has created an environment where all of our teams can compete for championships. And it's done in a way that aligns with the standards and the values of who we are. We're going to do it the right way. But it is fun to be part of, man. Hey, what a time to be a Commodore, huh?
Yeah, it's been unbelievable what's gone over there the last year or so. So you mentioned Michaela Blakes, and obviously, I mean, she took the world by storm last year, an unbelievable player, and she's picked up right where she left off and built on it so far. So as a coach, when you're watching her habits, her development, everything that's going on with her right now, how do you put into words the impact that she has had and continues to have on your program as you're trying to build this thing up?
That's a hard thing to put into words. We have to have a player like that, at Vanderbilt. We have to have a player like that on a championship team. And people are going to be like, well, why do you say that? Well, because I played on championship teams. I coached championship teams. And, one of my former teammates sent me a video yesterday, or right after we won. It was hilarious. I sent it to Michaela, and she told me we need to get a collar for the outside dog that we have. Now, listen, that kid is one of the most competitive, elite players that I have ever coached. And I'm not just saying that because of the performances that she's having. It's the way that she operates, right? So all of us have things that we do. We have professions. We have things that we want to be great at. We want to make a living. We have goals in our lives for things that we want to achieve. Michaela wants to be one of the best basketball players to ever play. She wants to be an Olympian. She wants to be a pro. She operates like that every single day. So she has a goal. But her standards are so high. She just raised the level of the competitiveness of my players daily. She raised the level of the way we operate in the locker room. She raised the level of how we operate in the classroom. She's our best student. So everything that she does is at a championship level. And because she's our best player and she operates that way, it has seeped into the fabric of our program, so that now everything we do, we operate at a championship level. And that's not something you can really coach. I mean, you can talk about it again, but that's something that we saw in her, we recruited, and now she is brought to our program.
How is she different from freshman to sophomore year, Shay? I know there's been some talk maybe being a little more vocal, just outwardly vocal to teammates. Of course, it seems like her game has also taken another step. Like, what has she changed from last year to this year?
You nailed it. She's a more vocal leader. She's a better leader. And I've been pushing her to do. I was pushing her to do it last year. She wasn't comfortable yet. I make fun of her a little bit sometimes. I'm like, I'm glad that you're actually using words this year, because last year it was more like noises when she got frustrated, or eye rolls. I'm like, okay, yeah, I know. Tell me, use words. But what it's allowed her to do is, like, in leadership, when you have a player like her, your best player, if that player is your hard worker, you need them to be some level of a leader. So Michaela already leads by example, but now she's using her voice. And when she does that, it points our players in a direction where they understand, okay, this is what I have to do. I'm going to do it. And they're going to do it for her because they see her do it every day. Again, a player-led team, right? That is something that is different about our program this year. And it is because Michaela Blakes has decided to level up her leadership.
So, Shay, some huge three-pointers for Aubrey Galvin down the stretch the other day. Obviously, an extremely decorated high school player. How would you describe the impact she's had very early into her college career for you guys?
Yeah, it's funny. She wasn't that decorated. I don't even think she was a number one player coming out of the state of Illinois. She wasn't in the top 100. But again, I love how we recruit. I love the way that we recruit. We saw something special in her intangible qualities. And a lot of people said she was too small to compete at this level in our conference. I think she's proven people wrong. Would you guys agree?
Oh, yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. She plays with a chip on her shoulder. She's competitive. She wants to win, similar to Michaela. And the impact that she's had, especially since we lost Maddie Green to injury at the beginning of the school year, has been immeasurable and priceless. And it's funny, she's a freshman, and that's a big moment. That was a big moment on Sunday. She had an incredible second half, and without her, we wouldn't have won the game. But after the game, I don't know if you guys saw this. I think I said it in our press conference. The first thing she said to me, we're just getting out of the handshake line. It's like, hey, coach, sorry about the first half.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, no, we're fine. You're good. You responded. But I think what's cool about coaching and hopefully watching our program is you're watching these kids grow up in real life. So we watched Aubrey Galvin grow up from the first half to the second half, and it helped us win the basketball game.
Yeah. It seemed like LSU was obviously attacking her a lot in the first half, Shay, and you guys were able to get her shots off the ball in the second half. How interchangeable is that backcourt when you based on matchups and just the situation of a particular game?
Yeah, it is great to have that option, right? I think I loved the idea even before the year of moving Michaela off the ball a little bit. and giving her a chance to move around, set some screens for her, cut through the lane, have her set some screens, and the same for Aubrey. And those are the adjustments that you have to make in the game. And when you have versatility on the floor, it makes those kinds of decisions a lot easier. And luckily this year we have it.
So, Shay, I know you mentioned Maddie Green, and of course, losing Camille Pear in the offseason. I looked at this team like, man, are they going to have enough depth? You have someone like Aubrey emerge, but then like Justine Passat and her improvement, which is obvious, on both ends of the floor. Is this team exceeding your expectations at this point?
No, they're not. I knew that we were going to be really good. I wasn't sure how good. I wasn't sure if they knew how good we were going to be. But it's one thing to have really good players. It's another thing to have a great team. And we have a great team. And our unity, our chemistry, it's different than any team that I've had here before. I don't think that in order to win championships that you have to have all the best players. I've never thought that because I've seen it and been part of teams that haven't had them. But I do think that you have to have a great team. And we have a great team.
Well, Shay Ralph is our guest. The Vanderbilt women's basketball team back in action tomorrow, taking on Missouri at Memorial Gym. 6:30 is the game time. Pregame will be at 6:15 on 94.9 The Fan. And SEC women's basketball, as Joe mentioned, the environment awesome the other day at Memorial Gym. Shay, thanks so much for taking time to be with us. Good luck coming up tomorrow against Missouri, and keep it going. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thank you guys. Everyone come watch. Come to the men's game tonight. Come on Thursday. You won't be disappointed.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Shay.
Vanderbilt basketball just rolling in the W's right now. The men's team kicking butt, women's team undefeated, number 7 in the nation, destroying people.
Yeah, I mean they're both projected 2 seeds right now, which of course would mean for Shay's team that we're talking about hosting. I really like their chances. The SEC is tough. I mean, there's going to be some tough games ahead, but I really like their chances to host for sure and potentially get a seed that high and potentially make a run. Both of them.
I mean, by the way, Aubrey Galvin had 2,132 points as a high school player.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. But yeah, I mean, she wasn't like, obviously when they got Blake's, that's a different level.
Sure.
I mean, yeah. Yeah. But I did wonder, with the offseason changes, I was like, gosh, are they going to have enough around Blake's? And right now, it looks really good. They've got like you said, a cohesive team, which is not easy to do. I think it's harder to do in college sports anymore to have that collective synergy like that.
Well,
when you change rosters as much as you do in college sports anymore.
She brought up something that we probably don't discuss enough, and that is the job that Candace Lee has done here.
Yeah.
And you're talking, and I understand that the landscape of college athletics has changed, but I mean, think about the season the football team just had with Pavia and Clark Lee, the first 10-win season in school history. You got 2 undefeated basketball teams right now as we sit here in January with conference play beginning. And we know what baseball is with Tim Corbin. I mean, I don't think it's even close. This is the golden age right now of Vanderbilt athletics as a whole.
Clark Lee, Shay Ralph, Mark Byington are Candace Lee's hires. I mean, I'd actually, it'd be worth looking into this. Like, how many ADs have hit like that on football and 2 basketballs?
Pretty good
in recent times. It's pretty amazing.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. We will get back into the Titans coaching search coming up next. Rexrode's got a problem. He's going to address it coming up next. 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Game Nashville Sports Network, your home for college football playoff. Tomorrow, following the Vanderbilt women's basketball game on 94.9 The Fan, catch number 10 Miami taking on number 6 Ole Miss in the Fiesta Bowl. College football playoff coverage presented by Twin Peaks and Parman Tractor and Equipment. Appreciate Shay Rao for being with us in the last segment. Paul Kuharsky from paulkuharsky.com will be with us in the second half of the program. And we will get hot and heavy into the Titans head coaching search with him. Joe, something that has been bothering you that has been out there on the Titans coaching front and the coaching front in general over the last few days.
Well, I think this can apply to a lot of people. And I think to apply it to everyone, I think one thing we need to understand is that people can change and grow and improve. We talk about this all the time with players, right? It's like, yeah, you're allowed to, to improve. We think someone comes into a professional league and that's just what they are. Well, a lot of people improve. But a big thing, and this is a story, and yes, of course, this is still generated, but talking about Flores, and he told this story on the air before, but just to quickly recap, Flores was like Floyd Reese was in New England with Flores. And so there was some, there was some question at one point about, I guess, when he got the Miami job, and it was like, essentially, like the Floyd had wondered about whether that he would be successful based on his time, in New England with Flores. Though he loved him when he was there, all that stuff. But it's like, can this person be a head coach? So, and this all generates from Stilly and I having a text battle the other day. And so I'm like, 10 years ago, well, yeah, I guess 11 years ago, Mike Vrabel was a D-line coach at Ohio State, and he was lucky to have the job, okay? Now, he was good. He was a good recruiter for them and all that stuff, and he moved up quickly. No one ever at that point, if you worked for him at Ohio State and saw him headbutt a player who had a helmet on, which Vrabel didn't have a helmet on, and open his forehead up before a Michigan game, you tell me right then this guy's going to be a successful NFL head coach? No. Point being, because this all came from like Flores and what, if you're still leaning on stuff of like impressions that people had of someone 10 years ago, and this would have been, I think maybe more than 10 years ago. When was Floyd with the Patriots? 11, 12, maybe about
10, something like that. Maybe 10.
Was it?
I think it's around there.
I thought it ended a little later than that. Is that right? Okay. But again, it's like, yeah, people like Vrabel got way, but Vrabel even here from the start of like dealing with media stuff where it's like, oh my God, this is going to be a freaking bleep show, to figuring it out, and look at him now. Point being, I don't care. And I'm using Flores as the example, but I just don't care if someone didn't seem ready 10 years, 12 years ago, 5 years ago, and we're still using that as some reason to not interview. Flores, in particular, in this situation, hell yes, you interview him. And again, I'm going to bring it up with Kuharsky again when he comes in here on the lawsuit stuff, because I'm really going to be disappointed if both Saleh and Flores aren't on the interview list. I would not be able to understand it. But it applies to other people too, right? I wish I had another example, but there are coaches who were players who you never would have guessed would end up being coaches. My gosh, I covered a guy with the Michigan State basketball program. Great kid. But he was like, hey, how you doing? He was their video coordinator. It's like, he was working hard. He was trying to figure it out. It wasn't that long ago, I swear. He's the head coach of the Phoenix Suns right now, and he's kicking ass. Jordan Ott. People grow. People get better. People who work and figure it out can actually be way different as coaches than they were 5 years ago, 10 years ago. So there you go.
There you go.
Still, he got me all fired up. But but specifically with Flores, I reject the idea that, look, another thing that we argued about is, okay, none of these owners will hire Flores because of what he did to Stephen Ross. And I'm like, well, I understand the thought process there, but I also think that other owners in this league know a little bit about Stephen Ross. And maybe he said, you know what? He actually had it coming.
Yeah.
For having that gall to go to his coach and ask him to tank games. So screw him. You don't think some owners in this league are like, actually, screw Stephen Ross?
Yeah.
I don't care. The idea that across the board, none of them would trust him. Don't do crap like that. I mean,
Look,
don't do stuff like that causes the issue.
I think Flores is really intriguing. I'm with you from the standpoint of, I think defensively, he is doing stuff in the league that nobody else is. Like, I think I heard, not to bring up my guy, but like Matt LaFleur talks about this a lot. He's like, yeah, Flores is like unbelievable in what he does out there. And by the way, like, I understand like there's a bunch of drama from the Miami stuff. He went 5-11 his first year as head coach of Miami, and then he was 10-6, 9-8, right? Like, I mean, he got things turned around. I know Tua came along during that process, and I understand all that. But like, I think he can be a good head coach in this league at some point. Now, whether or not that's now, whether or not that's the the Titans, we're gonna find out. But he's a very intriguing name to me. And I'm with you. Like, interviewing, it would be disappointing if he's not there, as Paul Kuharsky has broken
I
in
mean, he'll
studio.
come in here and be like, oh, no, they won't interview him. No, and lawsuits. But I don't care. I reject
the first
that.
thing we're talking about with Kuharsky is how happy he is that Mike McCoy is getting an interview. That's what I can't wait to
Yes.
talk about with him.
Well, it's funny you say that because I wanted to read Trevor's text and who is listening to my diatribe and says, LOL, so can Mike McCoy grow and figure it out? Well, I would say he can, Trevor. I think anybody can get better. Paul Kuharsky, he can get better. I know he can.
Mike McCoy,
He's not done growing.
significantly younger than I first thought.
How old is Mike McCoy?
I think he's like 53.
That's insane. So you're telling me that Mike McCoy is a full decade younger than John Harbaugh?
That's what I'm telling you.
That is so wild. It's like sometimes when you look back, someone threw out like a Wilford Brimley photo from when he filmed Cocoon. He was like 50. Like, what? He wasn't 83? He was 50 when he filmed Cocoon? How?
And we just compared Mike McCoy and Wilford Brimley. So there you go.
I could see Mike McCoy breakdancing.
Paul Kuharsky from paulkuharsky.com will be with us coming up next for the remainder of the program. We got a lot of stuff to get into on the Tennessee Titans front with him. We will do that. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar. Paul Kuharsky from paulkuharsky.com is with us for the remainder of the show, and we will get into all things Tennessee Titans with him. PK, good morning. How
Good
are you?
morning. I am energized, shockingly, for a couple days after the season. Excited to be here.
Didn't have to watch. No more watching this version of the Tennessee Titans. Now we're moving on.
Well, this will be the first weekday that I am not in Metro Center in quite a long time. Look at Ian's helping my lighting. I'm going to be well lit.
It's a big show this morning.
You can see the full fatness of my face
The full
as I begin to work on eating less, doing more activity. All of these off-season missions.
resolutions. Got a bunch of resolutions doing.
Who was I talking to? Braden Gull, I think, said not resolutions, but I can't remember the word he used. But I'm going to make progress on issues.
Okay.
Eat
Making
less,
some progress.
eat less, do more, go to the dentist, things like this.
Nice.
That seems like a good idea.
It's on the list. I'm not saying I'm going yet, but I'm intending to go.
It's under
New
consideration.
Year intentions.
There we go. I like that.
That's
I
good.
like that. So what did you make of Mike Borgonzi's press conference yesterday? I mean, obviously there was a hesitation on his part to really go into any sort of detail about any of the candidates out there. Not that I really expected him to do that, but, Cam Ward's progress came up. Some of the things that he's looking for in a head coach came up, as you pointed out at paulkuharsky.com. A lot of those things sound familiar that the Titans may have had a few years ago.
This is not on Mike Borgonzi in any way, shape, or form because he hasn't been here. And I find him to be an alpha personality, which I like. But the job description, I mean, I asked him about an alpha, and he said, I think that's overrated. There are leaders who are more quiet, but they're demanding. But then when I asked him what he wanted, the job description was Mike Vrabel. And so, they're looking for a guy that they fired 2 years ago. And I don't know that they're going to, I'm pretty certain they're not going to find a better version of Mike Vrabel. And that's the standard I'm holding them to. They don't need to find somebody that's better than Brian Callahan. They need to find somebody who's as good as Mike Vrabel. Then people come back at me with, Vrabel's record down the stretch and everything. And they don't seem to understand, A, the circumstances he was under, B, how management let things go south. Vrabel had a role in it, but people who own the team and manage the team let things spiral for 2 years instead of working to get control. And B, that a good coach could have a couple bad years in a scenario where the draft has been so horrible and things went bad. And he had a chance to ultimately, if you stick with a guy, you can, a franchise is capable of rebounding. They make it like, oh no, they had to get rid of him in order to get in position to go from 6 wins and 7 wins to 3 wins and 3 wins.
So you come right in glazing Vrabel, huh? Just Vrabel glazing right from the start. We had a texter who asked, how long will it take till Kuharsky says Vrabel's name?
It's what I wrote.
Question.
It's what I wrote last night. Didn't you think the job description sounded an awful lot like Mike Vrabel?
Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess you're right on that.
The thing is, he said, what are the 2 words? Conflict and connection. The guy has to be able to, there's going to be conflict.
Not
Part
afraid
of the
of
job is conflict and connection. Well, Amy Adams Strunk loves the connection part. She can't handle the conflict part. That's what worries me if she is involved in everything. Well, I don't know about the conflict part, Mike. I love the connection part. We might be able to put the word collaboration back in rotation in our buzzwords. It's been out of circulation long enough now that people might take it again. But conflict, she might have been on the phone with him right after this press conference. Said conflict. That's a little scary to me now.
We don't do that here, Mike.
Yeah. We had some conflict, and it ended up in Rand Carthon.
Okay. All right. I want to get rid of something right away.
Okay.
And I guess this is, I'll step back if we were talking on the air, PK. So I've been talking Flores. I think it's crazy that teams wouldn't want Flores. You think that it's just a non-starter and that until the lawsuit's resolved that no one will give him an interview to be a head coach. He is not a viable candidate.
Well, I didn't think that coming into this, but I haven't heard his name once, not just here, but anywhere. So it seems like it's a non-starter and that the league is willing for him to be a coordinator while he's got this lawsuit going, but not willing to have him be a head coach.
So
Also,
collusion. So you were charging collusion. Okay.
probably. Also, I'll say this, but also I'll say this. I'll say there is a case against him as a head coach. I think he's a fantastic defensive mind. He was not a great player relations guy in Miami. He
couldn't stand Tua.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a great way to go. Even if your quarterback is terrible, you have to have some kind of smooth relation with your quarterback. And his look, I would have behaved like he behaved with Tua.
Yeah.
And that's one of the many reasons that I'm not an NFL head coach, right? That's kind of my management approach, which is why I had a one-man operation with a few contributors who say, here's what I'm doing this week.
PK works for no man. It's not happening. All right, so what do you make of the Harbaugh stuff being out there? Because Harbaugh, fired by Baltimore, obviously, I mean, he's going to move to the top of everybody's wish list, whether it's the Titans, the Falcons, whoever that's out there, the Giants. I mean, there's a lot of people think that's where he's going to end up. What do you make of Harbaugh, and how realistic is it that the Titans could have a shot to land him?
People are about to. I heard pretty authoritatively last night. For him, it's the Giants, or he's got another team that he would like to go to that would probably fire its head coach. I think I could say Tampa Bay. And I'm all in favor of Tampa. I'm a fan of Tampa Bay. I think they're starting to get old, but I think that roster is far better than it's performed. I don't know why they extend Todd Bowles. I don't think Todd Bowles is a Super Bowl caliber head coach. And I think if you put John Harbaugh on that team, it would be way more threatening.
So that suggests then that he's big on Baker, right? I mean, that's the choice.
I think most people would be big on Baker. Easton Freeze has pointed this out. I'll give him credit. The Giants can only hire one guy. Every coach.
Yeah, it's connected to the Giants.
So Halfley, who's one of the hottest young guys, was pinned to the Giants immediately. He's from right near there.
Yeah.
He got 30 tickets for his family when the Packers played there. So before the big guns came available, Halfley's going to the Giants. Stefanski becomes available, and everybody said Stefanski is going to the Giants. Then Harbaugh happens. Harbaugh is going to the Giants. Well, they can't hire all three guys.
Why? They could be the head coach OCDC.
So, if they get the top guy, and it seems like the most favored job by almost everybody, I think part of it is, it's a prestigious franchise, not lately, but generally. If you do well there, you get more shine than if you do well anywhere. And I think they pay, and that's a factor. So Giants, number one job. It's unfortunate that Baltimore's open. I mean, Baltimore's the number one job, not for Harbaugh, but for anybody else. I can't see Baltimore hiring Stefanski in divisions, kind of like trading coaches. And I would presume they're going to hire somebody young, up and coming, like they did with Harbaugh, though it was 18 years ago. It's still the same people, DaCosta, a branch of Ozzie Newsome. So then those two jobs are filled. That leaves, the third guy now to be Tennessee, Atlanta, Arizona, whatever. And I think the Titans measure up to the rest of those other jobs.
I hear what you're saying on that. I don't know. It's just hard for me to. It's hard for me to understand. Like Stefanski, for example. Do you think that if we just take Harbaugh out of the equation, like I think anybody would, like, is Kevin Stefanski a real thing here?
I think so, but this is what I was getting before Baltimore opened.
Yeah.
So I don't know where Baltimore is on Stefanski, but I think Stefanski's a realistic shot here.
If not, I think I'm excited about that. I think a lot of fans are excited about that. But there's some people who are really down on that.
Well,
I guess you can argue either way on any of these.
Here's the one thing that I surmised about Stefanski, about Saleh, and so that's only two, but they're the two guys who have been in the league as head coaches. So I think this might be more a circumstance of current coaches in the league. And I know Saleh's not current, but recent, is that they don't hold their guys to account enough, right? And so my question is that a particular Stefanski and Saleh issue, or is that a state of the league in 2025
These kids.
issue with these kids?
Generation.
And it's
Damn
hard.
soft
But the
generation.
thing
Trophy
is,
for everybody.
like, there were a bunch of clips of players in Cleveland who
Where
were
the hell's
talking
Dick
about what they want in their next coach, and they were talking about that. We really want to be held to account. We want a guy that. So they say, it's like guys say they want discipline,
and then they get
but then
yelled
when
at
they
and
when they get it,
hate
they
it.
don't want it.
Yeah.
So that didn't paint Stefanski in a great light, but I do tend to think, like you're saying, Joe, that it's more generational and about the players than it is about the coach. And I think it's a tough line to find. And I'll go back to saying I think that's part of what makes Vrabel special
Here we
is
go.
that
Glaze some Vrabel.
he can do it though, right? He gets on guys' asses and is still friendly with them and knows how to navigate that line where there's conflict and community.
Like I feel like Tomlin's another example of
Yeah,
good
right.
balance there.
Harbaugh,
Yeah.
too, right? That's why they're among the top guys.
I have no problem with the Titans casting a wide net. There's another candidate in particular that I'm going to talk about here in a minute.
I think I know.
Well, I think you know
He
where
doesn't
I'm
need to
going
be in
right
the net.
now. There's another one that I'm talking about here in a minute that even after yesterday, I'm like, no, they don't even waste your time interviewing. We'll get into that here in a minute. Can you explain to me the Jason Garrett thing? Can you explain to me why Jason Garrett would be on the radar for the Titans?
I cannot. I mean, I hope it's in the basket of this guy's got a wide range of exposure. Dak Prescott developed there to whatever degree, and there's some stuff to be learned that might be applicable to Cam. And we can get a lot of information out of him, and maybe he surprises us, something like that. I would hope he fits in that basket, and give him a chance to blow us away and all of that. But to me, he's just very milquetoast. Also, Ian Rappaport pushed him so hard for the TV gig that I just picture him sitting in that office with Ian anytime Ian wants to come to town, and makes me want to not live.
Like, how many coaches have been away? I know he's in the media sense, but like been out of the game for that long, who then had success.
I don't know.
That's a long time.
It gives me
Long time.
an Aaron Boone feeling, and how big a fan I am of that.
Like, seriously, is there? I'll put it out there to listeners. Is there an example? I can't think of one of someone who's been detached from coaching for that long, who then got back in. I mean, like, guys take a year or two, right?
Right. And then when McCarthy was out between Green Bay and Dallas.
Well, how long was that? A year?
Yeah,
two?
and
Was it two?
Maybe two.
Maybe two.
Might have been
No.
one. But Peter King did, and these are all rehabilitation pieces intended to help a guy get back in the league. But he wrote all about, all the studying McCarthy was doing and the revisions to his thinking and all of that. Jason Garrett hasn't been doing that. I don't think has Jason Garrett talked about wanting back in the league. I don't think so. That's what makes this so surprising. Jason Garrett's been telestrating.
Hey, Joe Gibbs was out for 12 years.
There you go.
Okay,
that's
okay. Well, that's also one of the
and
greatest,
had a Hall of Fame
greatest
career.
coaches of all time.
It's a little different.
He actually might be the greatest coach of all time. So the Dave Borgonzi, Mike's brother, was assistant under Garrett. This is, but I guess Easton tweeted this. Someone else on the text line said it today.
That's important.
But I mean,
has he been fired? Dave Borgonzi?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Because I think he's in jeopardy. I think he's in jeopardy.
I mean, that to me is
and you know who one of his linebackers was?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Kenneth Murray.
But I know we got to go. But I understand the people throwing out the naggy thing with the buddy stuff. We can talk about that. But like that, and I kind of reject that. I mean, Nagy is a legitimate candidate.
Sure.
But this does kind of, if that's the, you know what I mean? Like it feels a little bit like, let's give my buddy an interview.
But maybe his brother said, look, this guy has a wealth of information that you should tap into while you can. And I am big. Al Davis did this and I'm surprised more people don't. Interview 20 people and pull everything out of their heads.
You may have a counterpoint to Robbie's rant here.
And if guys are willing to come in and you can do that, I'm fine. Just don't surprise me and hire one.
Yeah, there's one I don't want to be interviewed. We'll get into that coming up next on the Rob Rant. This is 102.5 The Game.
Don't make me angry.
Sometimes you have to tell someone to pound sand.
You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
This is the Rob Rant. Now on Robby and Rexrode.
Come in here and kick Rabel's ass real quick.
We got Bible study at 3:30 during the snack period.
Am I a clown to you, Mike?
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown. I amuse you.
I have dyslexia.
Paul, the dyslexic jerk.
If my zipper's up, I feel like I'm in style.
Catch one stray pee-pee and
you can't give alley-oops.
Oh, no, we would not tolerate that sort of behavior in Knoxville.
Then it's just total nonsense. It is time for the Rob Rant, brought to you by Functional Medicine of Tennessee. Heal from the inside out. Check them out at functionalmedicineoftennessee.net. Paul Kuharsky with us here on the program for the remainder of the show, taking your thoughts on the Titans coaching search at 615-737-1025. There's a candidate out there that we talked about a little bit yesterday that the more information that comes out, I don't know why the Titans are really wasting their time on this. Like apparently Cliff Kingsbury is going to be interviewed at some point. I don't understand the appeal there. Like he had a nice year as the offensive coordinator last year with Jaden Daniels. He was a head coach in Arizona failed spectacularly. He was a head coach at Texas Tech, wasn't very good at Texas Tech, ended up parlaying it into a head coaching job. And now, for some reason, after his second year in Washington, they parted ways there. And they've made it seem like it's this mutual parting of ways. Apparently, there was some disagreement between Kingsbury and Dan Quinn about like the run-pass balance that takes place in that offense. And he's out the door to, quote, pursue other opportunities. So that relationship has come to an end. I do not really understand the appeal of Cliff Kingsbury.
I love when the pursue other opportunities comes out and somebody immediately tweets the picture of him on that couch, like in Malibu, pursuing other opportunities. That looks like a hell of an opportunity. Yeah. And I believe he's a single man pursuing other opportunities.
He was just going to go live in Thailand for a couple years, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And I was like, all right,
I guess I'll coach again.
As far as the Titans, I mean, I was just talking about, pick as many brains as you can. I think some of these interviews really are, hey, we'd think about you as a head coach, but ultimately thinking like we're setting ourselves up here for some potential coordinator possibilities. And so, like, to me, Raheem Morris, if he doesn't get a head coaching job, is there for you to be able to say, if you hire an offensive head coach and he doesn't have a dead set defensive coordinator or can't get his guy, hey, we talked to Raheem Morris, potentially, and we really liked him, and it's kind of the LaFleur setup. And so that Kingsbury could be like that. And I think Kingsbury has been a pretty good offensive coordinator. I think this is a crazy move by the Commanders if you consider what they did just 2 years ago. I mean, if you're the Commanders, you have to say this is, I think, I didn't watch them that closely this year. I'm not that familiar with everything that went wrong, but I would put this year in parentheses and say, we're trying to go back to 2024, what worked in 2024. And part of what worked in 2024 was Cliff Kingsbury calling plays for Jaden Daniels. So who are they getting that's better than Cliff Kingsbury to do that? I mean, some of these teams act like I can just go get a coordinator to replace my coordinator who was good 2 years ago. No problem. And I think it's kind of like delusional.
So it sounds like you hate Cliff Kingsbury and you love Cliff Kingsbury. Why am I struggling to say
I don't
his name?
want him as a head coach. I agree with you. I think he's proven failure. Sufficient. He's proven sufficiently that he's a failure as a head coach. But I like the possibility of him
as a coordinator.
So yeah, like that's how it worked out with LaFleur. Would you be upset, Robbie, if Cliff Kingsbury, this shouldn't be a tongue twister, is the Titans offensive coordinator?
I mean, it depends on who the coach is, but
right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, here's a great piece of trivia, and I have been forgetting this, so I will share it here first. We've been talking a lot about this marriage that John Robinson set up for Mike Vrabel with Matt LaFleur as his offensive coordinator, and I've been saying that Vrabel couldn't get his top two guys. His top guy was Ryan Day, and I was failing to remember who his second guy was. Does anybody remember who his second guy was?
No.
His second guy was Matt Nagy.
Hey, there we go. Matt Nagy.
Interesting. Where are you on Matt Nagy, by the way?
Not my favorite, but and I'm not putting on a chef's hat, and I'm not making Borgonzi scheme shirts and all of that.
Let Borgonzi bake.
I'm saying let Borgonzi bake. And look, the sample size is small, so I understand the desperation for faith. And I don't trust that Amy's not going to mess it up. But I'm giving him faith for right now. And I think the odds are that they wind up uncovering somebody out of these kind of no-name-ish group that they like. And that's not a bad thing. Like, if you take Vrabel out of having played a 10-year career, he's a guy that coached Ohio State for a little while and had a bad year as defensive coordinator. Would we have been excited about that hire at all?
Probably not.
And then he came in his first 4 years, they had a terrific 4-year run. And so those are that's the kind of hire I'm more likely expecting. A Halfley, a Minter, somebody like that you don't know much about until you see him in action.
By the way, Dick Vermeil is another of the examples of a long, but again, that's also a great coach.
Another Hall of Fame. Yeah.
Gruden. That's a great. Yeah, that's
Gruden.
true. Yeah, that's true.
Not a Hall of Fame coach.
Yeah.
He's broadcasting for a while.
He won a Super Bowl and he did broadcast. Then he came back and it wasn't going. How long did he coach before all that crap happened and he got bounced? Was he in like his second year?
No, I think he was in his first year.
Oh, was that right away?
I'm not positive.
So it's hard to really know like if it would have worked out. But yeah,
his second stint, he was in his second year. No, excuse me, his third year.
Oh,
okay.
Really? Very forgettable. Very forgettable.
The list keeps growing. He was in his fourth year. He got hired by the Raiders in 2018. He was there for 18, 19, 20, and then 5 games in 2021.
Give us records.
Yeah, what were his records?
His records in 18, 4-12, 7-9, 8-8, and then he was 3-2 when he got fired.
Guy's a brilliant coach. I'm going to praise the market, which is rare. The Gruden talk, way down.
Minimal.
People seem to have either given up or come to their senses.
Well, not just overall, I thought for sure he was going to get a college job. I thought he was going to get a college job. And it's like, nah, Arkansas, whoever, we're
why
good.
Take a college job when you can sit all day and open boxes of enormous amounts of clothes and wear any team?
I agree, but he has been out there saying how desperately he wants one of these jobs, right? So, but yeah, I think the groomers are like actually dying.
It's a young man's business.
Paul Kuharsky will be with us for the remainder of the show. We welcome your questions on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com on the Titans coaching search front. We will get hot and heavy into that. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game.
Stand back. There's a hurricane coming through.
Paul Kuharsky from paulkuharsky.com is with us for the rest of the hour. Talking all things Tennessee Titans. Charmed. Yeah, whatever comes up.
Joe polluting his mind.
I've been in love with Alyssa Milano since 1984. Shut up.
That's not.
There's a drop.
That ends all
It's a
conversation.
long-standing relationship. Be quiet.
Yes, if Katie can have a cardboard full-size cutout of Jason Bateman in our home, I am going to get. Yes, I am going to get an Alyssa Milano counterpart.
Fathead. Yeah.
Yeah, at least that.
Have them side by side and pair them off.
Yeah, that would have been a nice. That would have been a good '80s couple.
Little
really,
does Bateman know that he's with Milano.
Well, I want to apologize to our listener because I haven't actually asked you about this yet. Mike McCoy getting the interview for the Tennessee Titans. Your thoughts, PK?
The exit interview as job interview. I mean, this guy is so listen, he does deserve some credit, and he got better at the end and all of that. But what other circumstance? I think it's completely reasonable what the Titans are doing. They're not firing guys. They're letting them hang around. I mean, if you have an opportunity that you want to pursue, go ahead. But we're going to let the new head coach sort through the staff and make decisions. I think that's a very nice and reasonable way to do it. They're doing it even with the interim head coach. That's how passive a personality this is. I think any other interim head coach would be like, hey, now I've interviewed and I need to depart. It's too awkward with me being the powerful head coach to stick around. But in this instance, it's, well, you know, as meek as I am, it's completely appropriate. It's completely appropriate for me to stick around. I'm not threatening to anyone or anything around it.
There we go.
I mean, I need you and Mike McCoy to continue your relationship.
Yeah, I do too.
It got much better. But don't you? I mean, give me an example in history where a team searching for its new head coach still has the interim head coach in the building with the title.
I have no idea. It's a good point.
I can't imagine it's ever happened.
That's a good question, but how?
It's a great question.
But I guess
research. Get on that.
Wouldn't it potentially happen though? Because like,
why? To do what?
Well, I mean, just because it's sort of like.
Hey, Mike, look at this film on Cornell Tate. We really want your opinion,
Mike. What do you think about Stefanski? You think he'd be way better than you? How much better than you would he be? Like 50%, 75%?
Mike, what are your thoughts on conflict? Do you like it? Do you not like it?
He doesn't like it.
Yeah, well, maybe that he and Amy would work out well that way. They would never ever have a crossword for each other.
19% of this team's head coaches have been interim promotion.
Well, speaking of Mike, let me ask you this, because we get asked about Mike McCarthy all the time, and I've not really seen any sort of connection from the Titans to Mike McCarthy at this point. At this point, do you just have to assume that that's not happening here with the Titans?
I have heard that he is not interested, and I have some reason to believe that the Brinker McCarthy relationship is not one that would lead the Titans to hire him, but I don't have that as firmly as I'd like.
Yeah,
well, we've talked about that. Like, people just made that natural assumption that because they've been in the same
two guys
building,
work together,
right?
Then they automatically want to
liked
work
each
together.
other and worked each other. And
sometimes it's actually quite the opposite.
The opposite, yeah. So, I mean, I know McCarthy, we talked about the Giants job earlier. Everybody's in connection with the Giants job. It's like, McCarthy, he might get hired to coach the Giants. So
that's four.
Yeah,
we're giving him four.
A lot of coaches going to the Giants. Let's hit our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Ed in New Jersey to the program. Ed, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, good morning, guys. One of the things that struck me, and Paul, free plug, you touched on this on your leadership article with Rabel, was when Bergonzi was asked who was included in the interview, committee, Burke Nihill's name was noticeably absent that I picked up on. And I was thinking about how that compared to a couple of years ago when he was front and center and practically awe-inspired with the interview masterclass that Rand put on, as I think he termed it.
Boy, he said some great comments in recent years.
So I wonder, in hindsight, is Amy finally learning that she is going to trust her football people? And again, Paul, you touched on it. I mean, I need some sort of, strand of faith to hold on to. But I feel more comfortable as a fan right now, and at least in the process this time around than last. And I'm hoping that this is a sign where Amy is going to distance herself. Yes, she still has to be involved and sign off on the coach like any other owner would, but maybe this is a sign where she's really finally learning to trust her football people. God, she's got enough of them in the building to let them do it, let them go through this process. So I'm wondering your thoughts on that.
Well, I mean, good point about Burke Nihill. People in the building will tell you that and I don't know how much to buy this, that he was in the room and he's there to answer questions from these coaches, but that he didn't have a vocal part of choosing people. I don't know how much I buy that. He does what Amy wants. I can't imagine that Amy's not asking for his opinion, but he's not in there now. Now they'll bring him around, for these candidates to ask him questions. But those questions are strictly.
All right, bring out Burke. Come on, Burke. Where are they keeping him in the meantime?
On the business side, he's off doing business and stadium things. And I don't know what kind of question, you've got to come up with questions for the guy, but I don't know what those questions are. But I'm not going to believe that Amy's hands off. I wrote in this piece, Amy's more into a sweet talker than a straight talker. And every coach has to have a relationship with their owner, no matter how eccentric. It's a matter of if it turns into a real friendship or if you have to fake it. And this guy's going to have to shake hands and be friendly with her party set. And her party set is, shall we say, less conventional than a lot of owners' parties sets. And there's a fake degree to it, I think, for all of these guys who have dealt with it. Don't you think?
I'm kind of confused with what you're saying right now.
She wants to be buddy with the coach. Is the coach being buddies with Amy is a distraction. Every coach has that distraction. Hers is, I think, more annoying.
So I guess, so you think that was like the case with Callahan?
I think Callahan was certainly a easier guy for her to take around and show off to her friends than Mike Vrabel was.
Like cocktail parties? Like, what are we talking about here? Is she taking coaches on fox hunts?
No, but when
we are uncovering an entire new world of Titans football.
But when she's on the sideline, said, Brian, I want you to meet my fox hunting friend.
Oh my goodness.
This is Reginald.
I mean, how could any head coaching candidate not want to come here? I can't imagine.
Well, I had lost this thought in my head, but when Ed called back in, all I could think of was the Burke Nihill comments. So, we thought Brian Callahan was a great head coach before, but now we know. Now we know that we've knocked it out of the park.
And let's say this about Burke Nihill. He knows that he over promoted Rand Carthon. Like, here's a man that has touched the hem of Jesus. And then he over promoted Brian Callahan. We have hit a grand slam here. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
So now they hire a head coach. And he's done this twice in a row. Right?
Well, Titans.
So does he go on the Titans Homer radio station? He's got to decline interviews now. And
no comment on our new coach. I have no comment.
So he either goes on there and does it again, and then if things go badly, it gets replayed and he gets mocked, or he doesn't go on there and you say, the president of the Titans has no faith in the head coach. So what does he do?
I'd much rather see that.
Just
don't talk about it.
He can't win.
Yeah. I mean, just leave that one alone.
He can't win. This is another permutation of them sucking at hiring.
I can't wait until Are we going to get the video? Whoever they hire of the entire organization
standing O. Come on
in. Come on down.
Again, that is, to be fair, that's a league-wide affliction.
Oh,
that's like a societal affliction.
Have to have video at all costs, no matter if it can ultimately bring you shame. If it brings you clicks, you have to have it. I mean, these guys are saying, like, I can't give a natural post-game speech. I used to be able to give a natural post-game speech. Now I have to sitting in the locker room before the game writing notes.
Yeah.
All right, guys, this is what it's all about. Oh, yeah. No, I actually.
Hey, give me some Vince Lombardi quotes, quick.
You got me excited about the Burke Nihill interview about the new coach. Okay.
We are very optimistic, yet realistic.
The jury's out.
We will see. Let's welcome in Adam in Portland to the show. Adam, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, PK, you got me real depressed, man. I was excited when I heard about Harbaugh being available, and I woke up today. I was excited about them possibly. They said everybody's going to interview him, and then you're like, nah, Tampa and New York. So I just hate that. Like, why is it like that? Because is it specifically just Amy? Because Tennessee's a dumb place to live. I'm not saying that because I live here. Like, I've lived other places. I love living here. It's cheaper, especially for somebody who's going to get paid a lot of money. And we have all the same crap everybody else does. So I don't know. Is it just Amy? Is she that intolerable and insufferable that nobody would want to come work with her?
I think you're looking at it the wrong way.
Mad that you just dismiss us.
I think you're looking at it the wrong way.
It's not the
I
personality.
mean, he's looking right past Atlanta. He's looking right past Arizona. He's looking right past name the job. He's got one of the open.
Who wants to live in any of those places?
I mean, Atlanta's pretty cool.
I mean, people love living in Arizona. People love it. People love living in Las Vegas. You're being Nashville's great, but there are other places in the country that people like living.
Stop ripping Nashville.
And by the way, where to live is nice, but these guys are in their office 24/7. And if you go out to Metro Center, it's not the best facility in the world. So that is more a thing that I would be picking if I was a coach than the town that I get to go home to at 11 p.m. and drive into at 6 a.m. But you're missing the boat that out of 7 open jobs, one of which he's not going back to, that he got fired from, 6, there's one that he reportedly wants. The other one isn't even open yet. So don't take it as an insult to the Titans and Amy and all of that. It's also an insult to Billwell and Blank, and give me the other open
the Brown, Jimmy Haslam,
and Mark Davis and Jim Haslam. And
so real quick, percentage chance that John Harbaugh interviews with the Tennessee Titans?
5.
Okay.
Higher than I thought.
Sorry, Adam.
Thank you, Adam. 615-737-1025, our phone number. A lot more to get to with PK coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Paul Kuharsky from paulkuharsky.com with us on the program. PK, a point you wanted to make on the New York Giants.
Yeah. But Titans fans whose feelings are hurt, should also consider, like, the Giants have a pretty good left tackle in Andrew Thomas. The Giants, if you look at their depth chart, defensive front wise, Titans looking for edge, like need two edges. Giants have Brian Burns. They have Dexter Lawrence inside, who, is not Jeffrey Simmons, but is on the next tier. And they have Abdul Carter. I mean, that as a defensive front is pretty damn good. Jackson Dart is promising. That is a much better roster to inherit. They have some talent there. That's another reason to like them. In a division that doesn't have anybody that, the Eagles are questionable at best. The Commanders are firing
the defending
people.
Super Bowl champion. It might win again, but yeah.
Right.
Okay.
But the Commanders are a mess. Dallas is regularly very questionable. Yeah. You got a chance to go there and turn things
it's New York
pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Also, I think, as I said before, I think they pay pretty well, and I think it's a prestige franchise.
Someone did ask that earlier in relation to the Titans, specifically about Harbaugh, but you could take it to other candidates. Will Amy pay top of market money to get a coach who is being pursued by others and is coveted? I mean, that is a thing that we never talk about really in these things, because like in college, we have public record of these contracts, and we really don't have, which I think is a big, by the way, something that should change about NFL media, PK. I mean, I think we should have coach salaries that some of them get out here and there, but that should be a thing. But do you think that are they going to be on a budget to some extent in terms of what they're paying their head coach?
I mean, I think if they could get Harbaugh or Stefanski, they would pay them market value. But when they get somebody that is, first-time head coach, Callahan, I think was making $3 million a year.
$3 million?
I think that's, or $6 million maybe.
I'd say $3 million is atrocious.
But
I have a new respect for her cheapness if that's the case. $3 million a year?
You get maybe I misspoke there. Somebody
how could he live?
Look that up. Let's see.
Well, no, but I mean, like, there's. I mean, we got the top college coaches are getting close to $15 million a year. I mean,
I'm looking that up. I don't know why that number was in my head, but we'll see what we come up with. I think I think they're competitive. Yeah. According to ChatGPT, reported to be about $3 million a year under his 5-year contract.
If ChatGPT says it, I mean, Vrabel.
ChatGPT is getting that from Reddit. I'm sure.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
See, this is the problem. I mean, really, like this is a problem. This is a thing that like owners should not be able to dictate. Like coach salary. Coach salary should come out just like all the player full contracts come out to Spot Track. And I mean, this is something
that count against
agents,
the cap. There you go.
Well, I will say this.
Well,
I mean,
we didn't have
a problem with Brian Callahan being hired as the Titans head coach, and if she could get him for $3 million, good for her.
I mean, it did end up being overpaying, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, you're shocked at how low it is.
Pay any of that back?
But impressed that she got what she got for her value. I think they'll be competitive in the marketplace.
But you keep saying the Giants pay well. Like if they and the Giants were pursuing the same candidate, and we're talking a totally different cost of living now with the Giants, so they have to sort of compensate for that. But still, you would expect the Giants, from what you know, to easily or clearly outbid the Titans.
I don't have a basis for that. That's just my gut feel.
Okay.
What do
you?
Not from Reddit.
I mean, we've talked a lot about Nagy even before all this. Any significance to like one of the first names being thrown out there in terms of the interviews being set up of Steve Spagnuolo? And they're just going like 1-2 right off the bat was Nagy and Spagnuolo from Kansas City.
Knows him and could probably coordinate schedules fastest. But look, I wrote this immediately. That first 4 that they requested permission on, not the most inspiring 4, but the order in which they asked permissions and and the order in which they interview is not meaningful.
But it's hard for people not to see it and
Sure,
think,
yeah.
oh, how many of his buddies from Kansas City are coming right in? Let's just have a big party. What did you call it? A party set?
Yeah.
Let's have a little cocktail party. All the Kansas City coaches.
And I think I thought Borgonzi handled that question well
I did too.
yesterday
Yep.
about, the guys he knows and separating them from guys he doesn't know. Look, I think just put yourself in this situation where you're interviewing 12 guys, 2 of them a couple of them tangentially, and a good share of them you don't know at all. I mean, I think you'd have more excitement about the guys you don't know. Like, hey, I'm starting with a clean slate on these guys. We've done a bunch of research, but I'm really eager to see what they're like. And you're more open to being surprised or maybe disappointed. But I think somebody jumps out at you, or a couple people jump out at you. And I think Titans fans should be excited about finding out who those guys are. And then, you see how it translates if they hire one of those guys. I mean, that's the fun of it.
What about Robert Saleh? I think the Cardinals are the team that I've seen that have officially requested to interview him. Doesn't mean that they're going to end up being the only one, but I mean, that's been Joe's number one guy for a while. We've talked about him. So
I think,
where do you think
I get a
that
sense that he wants to be here. And I mean, obviously, if he's just getting interviewed here and there, it's not hard to want to be here. But I think he's got personality, which I think it would be nice for this coach to have, and is well connected to a good program in San Francisco. Seems smart enough to learn from the mistakes he made from the Jets, and comes from more dysfunction than the Titans have. Comes from premium dysfunction. He is dysfunction tested.
He is.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm surprised that we're not, like your point on Flores. I mean, I get it, but Saleh, I just thought would be a clear interview.
Yeah, he's going to be in.
Yeah, the Titans will interview him.
Titans will interview Robert Saleh.
Okay.
615-737.
Who else can you tell us? Tell us who other names.
The whole list, please.
Well, I mean, these names that have been out there are all accurate.
I'm saying the people that we don't know. I want you to break news right now on Robby and Rexrode.
I don't have any. I could tell you they have not decided whether or not to talk to Fossil.
There you go.
Okay.
But I don't think that Fossil would be a serious candidate to get it.
No.
But I do think that if you're talking to Mike McCoy, you should talk to Fossil. They're
I
not
would
talking
agree.
to Denard Wilson. I know that also, and have reported that.
615-737-1025. Our phone number. A lot more to get to with PK coming up next. We welcome more of your questions on our text line. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Taking your thoughts on the Titans coaching search. By the way, Matt Nagy looks like he's got interviews with 3 teams at this point: the Titans, the Raiders, and the Cardinals. Jordan Schultz putting it out there, PK's best friend, that Nagy interviewing with both the Titans and the Raiders on Thursday, and that Friday he will be with the Arizona Cardinals. So there you go. 3 interviews so far for Matt Nagy, who a lot of people consider to be the favorite for the Titans job.
And no John Harbaugh interviewing with the Titans, or 95% possible. Are you okay, PK? You
Well, I mean, we don't have
an email right now.
Yeah, I multitask often. We don't. As do you. We don't. I mean, Harbaugh. All we've heard is Giants, right? I don't think Harbaugh is going on some big.
No, I don't
tour.
think he's going to go through a lot of interviews.
He should give one charity interview to one of these franchises who have no chance.
Yeah, he should, like, and for charity, like to raise money for charity.
Good idea. John Harbaugh interview with the Titans, everybody. We could do
just
a live
like pick
remote.
it out of a hat.
Dude, we could do a live remote from St. Thomas when Harbaugh like shows
Or
up.
whichever fan base raises the most money.
I will say,
Like, you know how the Bills fan base raises money for charity for anything that happens?
Yeah.
You do something like that. Like, whichever fan base raises the most money for John Harbaugh's charity, he'll interview with. And if that team just blows him away, who knows? Maybe.
never know.
Maybe. Then we'll find out what kind of salesman Mike Borgonzi is.
I would like to see
Then
Mike.
you get a stain on your resume. Out of a charity interview that's got a 2% chance, your fan base will destroy it. Well, he couldn't get Harbaugh when we got him that charity chance.
But if you're, in all seriousness, if you're a Titans fan, don't you feel way better about things if he interviews here than if he doesn't, but and goes somewhere else than if he just won't interview here at all? No? You're dismissing this?
I just think you have to be realistic. You can't look at it and say, well, they couldn't get him to interview. You have to say, well, they and every other open job except one couldn't get him to interview.
Yeah,
Like,
so
contextualize.
you're sitting at the nerd table with all the other crappy franchises.
Yeah, well,
congratulations.
Yeah, that's the nerd table with all the other crappy franchises is where you are when you fire your coach.
Actually,
And the Titans were the lead. They're at the head of the table because they fired their coach 6 weeks in.
Yeah, they spilled their milk. They got beat up and got the lunch money taken from them.
Here's what qualifies you for the nerd table.
They took a wedgie and a wet willy and a swirly.
Here's what qualifies you for the nerd table. You fire your head coach 6 games in. You're picking 4th in the draft. And you fired somebody annually for the last 4 years.
That's true. That'll do it.
Yeah.
Nerd number 1. Yeah.
Kick me sign.
Coke bottle glasses. Scrawny.
Poindexter.
What else?
So
you left your
named
book bag
Poindexter.
on the bus.
I'm sorry I brought it up.
It's okay. It's okay. So on the Stefanski front,
No shot at Caroline.
there is some thought out there and some reporting out there. I mean, that Cam Ward is something that Kevin Stefanski would be attracted to, right? Like they were in Cleveland. Who knows what would have happened had Cam Ward fallen that far, but the thought is they would have drafted Cam Ward
Yeah,
if
it's
he
out
got
there
down
that
to
they
that
like
far.
them.
So how much of a weapon can that be for the Titans when it comes to the Stefanski part of this, if it's true that he's pretty high on Cam Ward in the draft process?
Well, I would say, if you're looking at Stefanski, looking at options, you look at Arizona, where it seems like it's a foregone conclusion that they're giving up on Kyler Murray. They're not in position for one of the top 2 quarterbacks. As a guy who's an offensive guy, you're starting from 0 there at quarterback. If you're not into Penix, who's got ongoing health concerns, and your other quarterback is 40, Atlanta is not appealing from the quarterback thing, and you have to be more patient. If you come here and you like Ward, well, you're starting from something. So if I'm a quarterbacking coach, and I like Cam Ward, it's a better place than a lot of these other places from that vantage point.
Okay, now I need to ask you. I know we're talking coach search here, but Cam Ward not having surgery, good, bad, worrisome?
Yeah, no, definitely good. I mean, the surgery is not like a cut and dried surgery either. Like Blake Bedingfield was with an orthopedic surgeon when he was watching the game, and that guy said there's not like a good surgery for it. But he also said, when you have this and let it heal, there's potential that you deal with pain for the rest of your career. Now, there have been guys that have had, some degree of this, and they're all different. But Favre didn't have surgery. Rodgers didn't have surgery. Romo didn't have surgery. And they all played pretty fine football the rest of the time. Some of the guys that had surgery, the one that's coming to mind is Chad Pennington, and we're going back a ways here, never threw the ball the same. So there's some trepidation here, but they're encouraged that it wasn't as bad as it could have been. You got to give them about 3 months. He said, hey, I can work on my mechanics just fine without the throwing part of it. Now, you would like to see the mechanics resulting in the throw.
Yeah.
But he can work on his bottom half. It's not ideal. If you're taking 3 months off to heal from an injury, these are the 3 months that you'd want to be off. So it's not ideal, but it could have been a lot worse timing wise. Could have been worse that he needed surgery, which is more like 9 months. So, we'll see.
No, he's got a playoff game to deal with coming up. Do you expect Arthur Smith to be included in this process at some point?
I have not secured his name for sure. I think they should, in casting a wide net, take a look at him. I do think, because we haven't heard his name yet, I wonder if it would be an Amy indicator or not. Moving on to Jim Schwartz, they're not interested in Jim Schwartz, from what I can tell. And a lot of people want Jim Schwartz as defensive coordinator. Jim Schwartz is under contract to Cleveland as a defensive coordinator. So, unless Haslam has said he wants him. So unless Cleveland hires a head coach who then fires Jim Schwartz, he's not on the table to come here and coordinate.
I was hoping that Arthur might be one of the, you've told us definitively that they're going to talk to Saleh. Is there anybody else that you would feel strongly about right now that has not been thrown into I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot with that.
I mean,
you're putting your glasses
no,
on.
I think
that means you're getting serious.
Well, it means I'm going into my notebook and I have to read something, but
look at
I think it's all the same, all the same names that we've heard. I don't have any.
What about
surprise?
What about it? Do you anticipate? What about? I think that they should talk to. I've thrown out 2 names yesterday: Joe Brady and Chris Shula on the rising coordinator. You might get yourself a Liam Cohen situation or whatever front. I mean, do you feel like we're going to see any, even if it's not them specifically, interviews like that?
Shula is on their list. I expect they're going to talk to Shula. I have not heard Brady's name connected to this job at all. And I think that's good. I'm not a Brady guy. I think Brady, I'm fearful of coordinators who have made their name working with great quarterbacks. I mean, Brady was moving all around and was kind of fishy, and then he hit it with Josh Allen. I think that's Josh Allen.
Well, I mean, speaking of that, back on the quarterback, on the John Harbaugh front, and I've seen people are talking about this all over Twitter now. Like, if I'm him, we've talked about Tampa, we've talked about the Giants. I'd probably be waiting if I was him to see what happens with Buffalo on Sunday, because if they lose, maybe they keep McDermott. I mean, look, maybe the Bills aren't even considering moving on from him, but with the lack of playoff success that they've had with the roster and the quarterback that they've just thrown out there year after year, if you're the Bills, now that he's out there and available, if they don't win Sunday against Jacksonville, in the back of your mind, are you thinking, yeah, maybe John Harbaugh's the guy that takes us over the top?
Yeah. And what if what if the Steelers go out and score 6 points, which is completely conceivable?
Will they get that much
against Houston? I don't think the Tomlin story is necessarily over. There's a lot of rumblings now that he's got a TV deal lined up as his landing spot if he chooses to go out.
God, that surprises me.
That's what
he just seems like a ball coach.
Yeah.
Spot the ball.
So did Cower. And that's what he did for his soft exit.
Yeah. He's not very good on TV either, by the
No.
way.
None
I don't know
of
that
them
Tom.
are.
Well, Tom
Who's
would be
good on TV
Plenty
as
of
a
people are
former
good.
player or analyst
Tons of people.
in a studio role? Who's good?
Terry Bradshaw,
Oh,
man.
my
Come on. We've been going. I go back to 1993. I love some Terry Bradshaw on
You've
Fox.
got me on tape doing my Terry Bradshaw laugh. I'm not doing it again.
It happens.
Guy's a boob.
Ripping Terry Bradshaw.
I mean, come on.
Come on.
615.
I can't rip Terry Bradshaw. He's atrocious.
He was awesome in Cannonball Run. Shut up.
He was awesome in Cannonball Run. That's a great movie.
Thank you.
I had to have watched that 100 times in the early days of HBO.
See,
where it was on
multifaceted
repeat,
career.
where it's on repeat. And now Cannonball Run.
Again. Cannonball Run 2. Now that was rough. But Cannonball Run, the original? Hell yeah.
Dom DeLuise, right?
A couple more thoughts to get to on
Burt
the
Reynolds.
head coaching
Oh, yeah.
front. We do have people begging for you to tell the L'Jarius Sneed story of what happened the
It's
other day in
not
the
that
locker
bad.
room.
I don't know why people are fascinated.
People are fascinated by it.
We
We'll get
want to
into
hear it
coming
right
up
from your
next.
mouth.
Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Final segment of the day, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Paul Kuharsky with us from paulkuharsky.com. PK, your L'Jarius Sneed tweet the other day. Was in the locker room, said he'd be back to come talk. Never showed back up. We talked about that in the aftermath of that. Kind of fitting and summing up the L'Jarius Sneed tenure with the Tennessee Titans. But people are dying to hear this story from your vantage point. So
you just told it. I mean, that's.
But I want to hear what you said.
I believe
L'Jarius, will you talk to me, please?
No, I didn't put on some weird Queen's Edith Bunker affectation. I don't speak.
Hi,
like that.
L'Jarius.
He was
Remember
there.
me?
He was carrying some stuff, and it looked like he was heading like towards the trainer's room, which is his place. And I believed him. He doesn't generally lie.
So you said you're coming back, right? Is that what you said?
Well, somebody else said, like I said it too. A couple of us said, can we talk? And he said, I'll take care of y'all. I'll be right back. And everybody's like, yeah, I mean, muttering, yeah, you'll be back. And I said, he'll be back. And
You believed it.
I did. And then he wasn't back.
Even all the way to the end, you still had some faith.
Legarius has been straight with me. And I've probably been, I'm the one person that's covered his court stuff, on really a day-to-day basis. And he hasn't, he's not excited about it. And one time he said, Paul, always with the court stuff. But he hadn't ducked me on the opportunity that I had to approach him on it, though it's not his favorite thing to talk about. And I've gotten a little bit here and there. So I don't think he's not a stand-up guy. I think he's not a good quote. I don't have beef with Legarius Sneed from a media point of view. I have beef with being a bust.
Oh, that's very disappointing. I thought you were going to totally go off on him.
Sorry. Get to something else. You'll find me.
Paul Kuharsky showed grace to someone, to another human.
Yes.
It is a banner day.
Well, we were wondering if the next stop, wherever that is for Legarius Sneed, if you were going to chase him down, be like, hey, Legarius, I'm here. Come on back.
I don't
you
think
said
so.
you were
You
coming
left us
back,
hanging.
You never did.
I got some questions. I don't really have. The other thing is, like, what's my question for Legarius Sneed? Hey, do you expect to be back? And he'll say, I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's not up to me. When you can predict what a guy's going to say, I'm not that excited to talk to him. That's why I'm not excited to talk to that many guys in that line.
No, you created this whole story with your tweet, so.
He's just reporting what happened.
Yeah. I mean, but that's one of those things that people are going to latch onto.
I don't know how I'm the only person that tweeted it, frankly. Honestly, I had it typed out and I was going to hit it. And then I was like, well, there's like 15 minutes left. He could resurface. So I put it in my draft.
All takes exposed could have been all over you.
And then I didn't get back to the draft until McCoy was droning on, thanking every person in the building. And I'm like, oh, let me go to my drafts and send that Legarius.
Let me ask you both this. Harbaugh aside, because obviously with that coming out yesterday, that's moved to the top. Have you been able to get a sense from Titans fans about like the guy out there who they would be most happy with? Like, does that person exist from your interactions that you've had with Titans fans?
Well, my quick answer is even from like today and yesterday, first of all, tons of pushback on Nagy. Anybody who watches the Bears closely is like, don't. But even Stefanski, I'm surprised at the negative reaction I've seen to that. But it's same thing, kind of the same thing in Cleveland, right?
See, I go the other
buyer
way.
beware.
I go the other way on Stefanski. There's a good degree of negative pushback, but I'm surprised at how many people are reasonable on Stefanski, are looking at the record and the bad stuff in context of dysfunctional Cleveland and realize he's a good offensive coach and would be a good get for this organization. But in terms of there being a universal top choice, absolutely not. I mean, there are diggers out there that are looking at guys like Halfley or Kubiak or Shula or Minter. I've got people who are, sending me emails about these guys asking what kind of chance do you think they have? I'm really interested in this guy or that guy, which I don't recall getting in the past that are impressive to me. And I think it's more a pick your horse kind of thing than it's been in the past.
I mean, I will say, I think Halfley has a chance to be pretty good. Now, the thing with him is he's not been a head coach in the NFL. So how much does that matter to you if you're a Titans fan? He was a head coach at Boston College.
That's something.
And he's done, obviously, I mean, they've run into injuries in Green Bay on the defensive side of the ball. They're just a joke. But he's done a pretty darn good job last 2 years there. So if they ended up with him, I'd be excited about that if you're a Titans fan. But he doesn't fit what I think a lot of Titans fans are looking for in terms of has head coaching experience and some of what you're getting.
I mean, Jacksonville is obviously a historically inept franchise. And Liam Cohen was, good OC in college and Will Levis. Didn't work out at all in 1 year in L.A., back to Kentucky, goes to Tampa Bay for a year, And somehow they figure out, I mean, maybe he just blew them away in the interview, but there's an example of someone like there was no excitement when he came in there. I mean, it's hard to not look at the Jags right now.
When he came in there, the Duval thing was the biggest story.
We made so much fun of it on this show.
And he's tremendous.
So one of those names you're throwing, I mean, that's where you don't know if it's going to work out. But I think as a Titans fan, I would kind of be excited if one of them did pop through and become the coach because then at least you'd think, okay, they must have done something to really be persuasive and maybe they can actually make it happen.
And then, like, it goes very quickly to staff assembly.
Yes.
Who can you get? And people don't realize just how hard this is because you might have a couple guys you really love and are connected with, but people have contracts, man. And it's only a couple spots that you can pry people away from. You might have the greatest running back coach in the world, but if he's under contract somewhere, you're not getting him. And that's where the loyalty thing comes in too. Jim Schwartz told me this at one point, like, you cannot think of your first staff as your staff. You've got to be willing to change. That's a place where
it's like your starting point.
Malleable.
Failed.
Right.
Yeah.
So your starting point, you got to improve on it, not promote Todd Downing.
Well, we've talked about
Todd
this.
Downing wasn't on the original staff.
Whoever they end up hiring, it's this is what fans do. You'll talk yourself into stuff as time goes on. I am interested, particularly if it ends up being Nagy. We're going to deal with a lot of, well, he went through this whole thing and he was always just going to hire his guy. And maybe that's the case. Maybe it's not, but there will be blowback from that. And, then with all the other candidates, and I agree with you, Joe, like if they end up with one of these guys that has not been a head coach before, you could view that a couple of different ways. I would probably look at it and say, wow, they must be a really darn good candidate and blown them away in the process if they've passed on some of these other people that we know are out there.
Is Nagy a visor guy?
I think he is.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a big judgment thing I have to ask right away. You cannot be bald and wear a visor.
I agree.
It is begging the sun to come down. It's giving it a target. You already have a target. And then you're saying, here, right here, come give me cancer in this circle.
It really
is where I want you to come and give me melanoma.
It really does speak to like kind of
that's a judgment. Right away,
Yeah.
I'm questioning your judgment. I will ask him about that.
It does look
if
like
he winds up here.
he was a visor
Not
guy.
at the initial press conference, but in a more casual setting.
He was a visor guy for sure in Chicago. I mean, it looks like in Kansas City he has either gone without any hat at all or has graduated to the full hat.
Or the beanie.
Or the
winter.
beanie. Yeah.
All those are fine, but you cannot wear a visor if you're bald.
Right.
I'm an expert on this.
Yeah.
No, that's a very good point, and you need to ask if it happens. Right, real quick, Robbie, all the things you said, I totally agree on the potential kind of out of nowhere non-head coach guy. But you know how we'll know if that person is really good and why you should feel excited about it? If Bert Nyhill goes on that podcast and tells you how awesome that guy is.
He never does that. So,
baby.
I mean, that'd be special. That'd be special.
BK, thank you for being with us. Good work this week.
Thank you. Don't block the box and be sure to lock your locks.
That does it for us today. Next Man Up with Jake Lyman coming up next. You're listening to 102.5 The Game.